Hi guys, it's Danielle. I'm really excited today because I'm working with the American Lamb Board and we're about to show you how to do something that feels a little bit intimidating, looks very impressive, but it's actually very, very simple. I'm going to show you how to do a crown roast of lamb. Now look we aren't going out as much as we were. We're kind of at home more, but we still want to do something that's very, very special and supports American farms. Did you know that when you buy American lamb, you actually take part in supporting over 85,000 small family farms, and that's really important. That's important to me. So this Christmas, let's do something really fun. Let's support American farmers. Make sure that you're asking your butcher or wherever you're purchasing your lamb where they're getting it from, because over 60% of the lamb that's coming into the U.S. is imported. So we really want to be supporting, American farms, and it's important to kind of figure it out. If you don't know what to do or you feel a little bit lost, hit the American Lamb Board's website at Fan of Lamb, and you can get them on Instagram. They'll navigate you all through it. I'll have a link too whenever I post this video that will direct you, and you can actually find out where to purchase your lamb. So, without further ado, let's get into this. Okay, to get started, I actually purchased these guys already Frenched. So when it's French cut, it means that the bone has just been cleaned. There's actually a little bit of meat and fat cap that can come all the way up the bones. If you happen to purchase your lamb like that, very, very simple. You're just going to take your knife and clean them out. It doesn't have to be perfect, but these guys came like this for me, which is really convenient. One other thing I like to do is lift up this sort of real tough, sinewy piece right here. It's a little flap. It's just above. There's a little piece of silver skin that kind of runs along here too. What I like to do is loosen this little fat cap up, and it sort of exposes the meat right here, so you can see this beautiful little jewel of meat. And I like to just take some scissors and cut this part off. Now, this isn't traditional, it's just something that I do and I find that I like. So I just get this little extra piece out of here. I do this when I am doing lamb chops in any way, or even just frying or searing them. So that just opens that up and exposes that meat. If you want to get a little bit tricky, you can go ahead and trim that off. I always just leave it. The silver skin doesn't bother me very much. So here we're going to do the same thing to this guy, just lift him up. Go ahead and cut this off. And then we're going to be ready to tie this bad boy together. Perfect. And I'm just throwing my scraps in the sink. Don't put them down your garbage disposal. You'll have a mess. But look this is what we have. So you're going to butt the lamb up, and you want to tie these pieces together. So I've gotten some real pretty festive twine here. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is go ahead and get a dedicated cutting board. This is my meat cutting board. I wash it regularly, I put bleach on it, but this guy I use for meat. So I steadied him with a little bit of a damp towel underneath. You want a nice long piece of butcher's twine. I got some festive stuff for the holiday. And you're gonna want to take the two end bones and just tie them together. Nothing fancy, nothing special, not super, super tight, but tight enough. They'll crisscross a little bit, and that's absolutely fine. Perfect, that's all you want. Now, you're gonna wrap these guys together. And I sort of start to like to make like a C, and it is absolutely a little bit tricky. So if you have a friend or a family member, your husband, your spouse, your wife, whoever, you're gonna wanna see if they can kind of help you. And I keep sort of settling the lamb down and curving him out. So you want this beautiful roast. That's exactly what we're looking for. So here we're gonna pull this tight, and I'm gonna go around and make a little figure 8 in these bones, and then just pull this guy all the way over. This is where all your high school knitting experience comes in. And if you never knit like me, you're gonna have to really dig deep. Okay, so here you keep winding it around probably 3 times just to get a nice little stage set. And then take your string all the way down, put it underneath your thumb, and now you're gonna wrap around the meat. This is where you're gonna get that signature, beautiful round look to roast with. And you wanna wrap low. Whoop! They're slippery. Dry them off with paper towels. You see how I'm kind of like steadying this with the rack? Come up again. Keep putting them in a nice round scenario like this. And go at least 3 times. See this? Look at that. So he's all nice and wrapped. This is tricky to do and pull off if you've never done it before. So you're just going to continually work the lamb and work the rack into a circle and wrap it. If you need to go 4 or 5 times, just make sure you're around that nice medallion of meat, and it's going to keep into a nice circle for you. And then we take this whole thing and I pop them into a cast iron pan or any round pan. I've actually seen it done where people put them in a bundt pan, and then we season. So real liberally with salt all over. Turn them on his side really carefully. Pat. You want at least a teaspoon of kosher salt per pound of lamb. Go all over, pack, pack, pack. And then don't go, you can get rid of your salt. Don't use them again if you've gone in with raw meat fingers. And then I've got the same vinaigrette that we're gonna make for the salad a little bit later. Excuse me, not make, we're gonna use for the salad. And I'm gonna pour that all over the lamb. It's lemon juice, shallots, Dijon, beautiful. We're gonna make sure we get plenty inside. So I've got rosemary down here, all of the lemon vinaigrette inside there, and then we've also got it nice and liberally salted. I'm gonna put a little pepper on here too. Lots in the center. This looks so beautiful. Okay, so now I've got a little bit of red wine. It's just the last of a bottle that I was working on. I'm gonna pour that in the bottom too. That's gonna help with flavoring. And this is gonna go into a 475 degree oven for up to 40 minutes. You want this lamb inside to be at least 145 degrees. Use a thermometer. You can cook it longer if you like to. They recommend that you don't. We prefer our lamb medium. Most people like their lamb medium rare, but 145 degrees is what you're looking for. I've got a really hot convection oven, so I'm gonna go 400 for the convection. And I roasted one earlier and it took about 40 minutes and it was perfect. Maybe 45 minutes. But here we go. It goes in that nice hot convection. Every delicious dinner needs a delicious supporting cast. And I was trying to think of, like, it's Christmas time, we don't want to make 45 million sides, you also don't want to be in the kitchen forever. And I love making sort of a fancier meal. Let me stir this so it doesn't burn. Making a fancier meal, but then setting it out sort of buffet style. And that's what we had set up in the very beginning of the video that you saw. A pile of forks, a pile of knives, beautiful platters of food, and people get to help themselves, and I love that. So I thought of something that would be really delicious, and it's these spicy sweet potatoes. So this is what you want. You want all the spices to get nice and foamy. Just toast them and brings out all their flavor. And then I went ahead and already boiled the sweet potatoes. So we've got our sweet potatoes, which I just boiled in a little bit of salt water. I'll boil everything in just a little lightly salted water. I'm gonna add our potatoes to our butter and spices, and then turn our heat down to low and just start mashing. These are gorgeous. And then I've got a cup of heavy cream. I'm gonna add our cream in, continue to mash, and just stir. And that's what I love about sweet potatoes. You don't need to get a hand mixer out. You can just gently use the back of a wooden spoon. And these are incredible. They're perfect for the lamb. And then now that everything's nice and hot, got about a half a cup of shredded Parmesan cheese to keep that flavor going, nice and nutty and savory. Okay, so that's perfect. And look at all that cheese. It's so fun. So I'm gonna pour these into our side dish. These are ready. I'm gonna check the lamb. So this is what you're looking for mid-roast. It's sizzling, it's super hot in there, it's completely raw in the center, but you're really starting to get a lot of caramelization around the outside. That's what you're looking for. Don't be nervous if your lamb starts to make an oval and it's not a perfect round any longer. That's where I talk about just going with it and not worrying about it. So when I pull this out of the oven, I'm gonna go ahead and show you what it's gonna look like, but we are absolutely on the right track. The fat is caramelizing, it's rendering, it looks gorgeous. The final thing to do is put together the salad, and I always like to make it very, very easy on myself, especially if I'm entertaining or you have people coming over. There's no shame in buying a carton of lettuce, or, you know, I love the bib lettuce, I love all this little tender good stuff, I love peppery arugula. So I went ahead and picked up some cartons of lettuce, and I just spread them out on a nice big platter. This guy's thrifted, I think he's absolutely beautiful. This one from a little bit earlier. And I just layer in the arugula. I've already rinsed and washed it. And then I have some fresh herbs. I think that dill is not only beautiful, it tastes amazing, and it's also easy to eat. If you get a big mouthful of dill, it's not gonna gross anybody out. So go ahead and put your dill down. All over. I save the little stems for dressings and things like that. Pull all the leaves off. A little extra Parmesan cheese that I kept from the potatoes. I like to weave flavors throughout the entire dish. It's really important for me. If you're using a lemon vinaigrette, lemons and shallots, we use the lemon and shallot vinaigrette on the lamb. We're also going to dress the salad with it. We've got beautiful Parmesan cheese inside our sweet potatoes. You want to go ahead and put that in your salad as well. So you're saving money, you're utilizing what you have, and then I made a homemade shallot vinaigrette. I didn't show you guys that for time purposes, but it's just shallots, olive oil, lemon, salt, pepper. I'll include that recipe for you. And then you dress the salad when it's time to eat. Look at this. And then you can tuck the dressing right on the platter. And I think it's so pretty. I don't know, I just think food is so pretty. Look at this. Put them down here for you to see. And that's all she wrote. Okay, so the crown roast is done, and I roasted a gorgeous one earlier. We took it apart for shooting, and in between, I was roasting the second one that you and I did together, and I want to show you a really common, easy problem. My string and butcher twine was not as tight on this guy as it was on my first one, and it looks like it went ahead and slipped as it shrunk and cooked. I also overcooked this guy just a touch. So we end up with a crown roast that isn't completely circular in the center. It's still a gorgeous roast. It's perfectly medium in the center. We're gonna love it. Your family's gonna love it if you run into a mistake like this, but don't worry and don't be hard on yourself. Also, if you'll notice, I cranked up my heat a little bit towards the end, just experimenting with this guy. Different from the first roast that we cooked back here, nice golden bones. These bones got a little bit too dark, and that's okay. If you want to prevent that from happening and you're cooking this at a little higher temperature, go ahead and put little foil, sort of like little safety shields on. Just put some foil over the top of the bones and they will not burn. So it's still lovely and delicious, but I just wanted to let you in on a little bit of real life. When doing the 2 roasts for the photo shoots, this second one slipped a little and it looks more of an oval as opposed to a perfect circle, but that's quite all right. Thank you so much, you guys. This has been such a pleasure. I love the American Lamb Board. I love preparing simple, delicious food. I hope you have a beautiful holiday season, and get in the kitchen and try lamb. I mean, try making a crown roast. Get in there, go for it. Happy holidays.